Hey, Mike McGrody here from freeplants.com. In front of me here is a purple sand cherry. It's a flowering shrub. Today I want to show you, we're going to show you two things. It's pretty cold here in Ohio. You can see a little bit of snow on the ground. You know, we're getting into winter. But I want to show you how to properly prune this so that it looks really good next year. And at the same time, we're going to take the cuttings, the canes that we cut off of here, and we're going to make hardwood cuttings with them during the winter months. I'm going to show you how to do that. Sand cherry actually can be rooted during the summer. Most flowering shrubs root really well, easily during the summer months. Sand cherry will root during the summer months, but it's a little tricky. So a lot of times, it's easier to do them as hardwood cuttings. So basically, if you look down low, you'll see where this plant was cut pretty heavy in the nursery, and it made it full down low. But from here to here, that's all new growth this year. So if we don't prune this, we're going to get canes on every one of these buds. We're going to get new growth, and then this plant is going to be way up here, and it's just not going to be attractive because sand cherry is a sun-loving plant. So if you're not careful, it will shade itself, and you got to be careful not to let that happen. So basically, I'm going to cut this thing down, and it's the same, so it's nice and tight and compact, and then next spring it'll fill out and it'll be really full. In the same time, I'm going to harvest these canes and show you how to make hardwood cuttings with them. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut right above where these were cut last year. I'm going to leave a couple of buds so that we get plenty of new growth down low, and I'm going to save all these heavier canes. I'm going to save, and we're going to use them to make hardwood cuttings, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now as you can see, I've cut this down. I've left a couple inches on all the new growth from this year. I'm just going to clean it up here a little bit. And I've got, these are all the cuttings, these are all the canes that I've collected off of this plant. And now we're going to go inside, and I'm going to make these into hardwood cuttings and show you how that's done. Okay, now I've come inside, and I want to show you. Let me grab a little bit of these are the canes that I took earlier in the video I showed you, and we'll show you how to make a hardwood cutting. It's a very simple process. And on these cuttings, you may, hopefully you can see it in this video. If not, you're going to have to go out and look at a plant in your yard. But each one of these little bumps is a node or a leaf bud. Next year, each one of these little bumps is going to produce a leaf, and then later on a new branch. So when you're making hardwood cuttings, you want to cut on the bottom of your cutting. You want to cut right below one of these nodes. You don't want to cut into the node. So here's the node right here, and I cut just below that. And then on the top of the cutting, I want to cut. I'm going to go cut. Let me make my cut, and I'll show you what I did. I cut right here, so I cut below this node because this is going to be the bottom of my next cutting, and then I cut almost 3/4 of an inch above this node because I want to protect this top bud, because so when I handle it, I'm not going to beat that bud up and so on. So I cut right below the node here, and at the top of the cutting, I come all the way up to the bottom of the next node. I'm going to put that in my little container here. All right, now I've already cut right below this node. So now I'm going to come all the way up here and cut again, same thing. Now that's my cutting. Right here I'm right below the node. Here I'm about a little better than a 1/2 inch above the node. Okay, now I'm going to show you, we're going to come down to the table here. I got this little box that I made for making hardwood cuttings. I'm going to take a string and just lay the string in there like that. And then my cuttings are going to go in. So when I'm making my cuttings, I'm going to make my bottom cut and then my top cut. And the whole idea is so that when you're done, you've got a string around them, they're ready to tie up. So make a cut there. Grab another one here. I'm going to make my cut at the bottom like that. We're going to come up here like this. Right about there. And actually, in that one, that one's good just that way. So it's really important to make sure that you get them all going the right direction. All right, now I'm going to stop for a second here. Okay, now as you can see that I've done one bundle. It's really important when you're doing these to make sure you always keep them going the right direction. You got to know which is the top and which is the bottom, because only one end of these are going to root and grow. So there's the first bundle that I did. And I've got another bundle in the bin here, and now I'm going to show you I'll move the camera angle up here a little bit. Okay, now you can buy a 5-gallon pail like this at the hardware store if you don't have one. You want one with a lid. Now what I've done is I've cut the bottom out of this thing. So I'm going to take this and bury it in the ground all the way right to the top. Then I'm going to take my cuttings, I'm going to put them upside down so that the butt end is up. This is the top. And I'm going to put them in the pail like this. And this pail will be buried in the ground, and once I have the bundles in there, now I could put a bunch of bundles like this in there. You know, and of course in the nursery business we do tens of thousands. And these two bundles right here, I probably got close to 200 cuttings. So I'm going to put them in here like this, upside down, and then I'm going to put a potting soil over top of that, pack it in real good so there's no air pockets on the end, wet it down good because I want this part of the cutting, I want nice and moist in that soil. And then I'm going to put the lid on there, and actually that's going to stay warm because of the ground heat. That's actually going to be warm. I'm going to leave it there until about May 15th, and then when I take them out, these cuttings are going to be calloused up, and some of them will have roots on them, and then I'm going to take them out, turn them over, and I'm just going to plant them out. So basically, that's what we're doing. I got a 5-gallon pail here with a hole in the bottom, and we're going to bury that in the ground. Okay, now, as you can see, I buried my 5-gallon pail in the ground. I've got my bundles of cuttings here. I'm going to put them in here now. This is the bottom, so I'm putting them in here upside down, just like that, and like that. Now, if I had more time, I'd like to completely fill this pail with cuttings. Now, I'm going to shake some of this potting mix right on top of them. Pack it around there pretty good. Put a little more in there. I'll pack that down just about like that. Now I'm going to grab some water. I want that potting mix good and wet on top of those cuttings. So just about like that, and I'll wet that some more. But as soon as I have it as wet as I want, I'll pack it down, and I'm going to put the lid on there, pack the lid down. Now I put this here by the pole, mainly because I wanted to find a place that was out of the way so it doesn't get run over with the tractor or something come spring. I'm going to leave those cuttings just like that until about May 15th, because that's when we'll be past the danger of frost. Because when I take them out of there, they're going to have tender roots, or they might have a little bit of new growth on them, so I don't want them to freeze. So I'm just going to leave them right there till about May 15th. Then I'll take them out, I'll cut the bundle, and then I'm just going to plant them right in the bed. I really haven't used any dip and grow, any kind of rooting compound. You can, it will help, but it's really not necessary. So basically, that's hardwood cuttings. There's all kinds of, you can do forsythia, excuse me, red twig dogwood, yellow twig dogwood, rose of Sharon, great plants. A lot of different, anything that grows really fast, like I showed you in the earlier part of this video, that's usually a pretty good candidate. It's got to be deciduous. You can't bury an evergreen like that with leaves on it. But basically that's about it. You can do a lot of different things that way. Experiment a little bit. I think you'll be amazed at what you learn. I'm Mike McGroarty from freeplants.com.